episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is going to be episode 156, continuing this photo bashing that I've been doing. And yeah, it's so funny. I had some ideas yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to try those out. And I have no idea what those were. So So yeah, this is gonna be fun because I have no idea what those ideas were. So I'm just gonna continue with it, muscle through, and then hopefully I find something, um, or remember what it was I'm looking for. Either way, I'm catching up on my Maximilian dude streams, and this is uh, I just started this one, and he's talking about something that happened at the Mortal Kombat X tournament. They were, Twitch Rivals was holding a MKX tournament, and something happened. I don't know what happened. I was watching it, and they were just like, "Oh no, we got to shut down now." So they shut down, and I have no idea I have no idea what happened, but he's talking about it now, but he's not giving details because it like went up to legal or something like that. So of course, like you know, uh, I guess he's not going to talk about, which is fine. I have no idea what happened, but something happened, and they're figuring it out.
And usually,
There we go.
I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm very lucky that we're in a situation where uh, there is people that are much more versed in this about security and stuff like that that are going to work with it. So anyway, um, all you guys need to know is that it was something that's completely outside of our control, and I'm not going to let anything bad happen to anyone in my tournaments or in my events that are associated with me. So, long story short, it just won't happen, right? Long story short, it just will not. I won't put people in a situation where they're threatened in any way in association with an event like mine. So, yeah, it'll be fine. Pretty much comes down to harassment, chat. Yeah, players in the tournament were being harassed, and that's it. That's all I need to know. So I'm not going to have that happening in my events that have my name attached to it. I just will not allow that to happen. So we'll figure it out. It sucks. No, it really sucks. We were having a lot of fun. We're trying to figure out, right? I think they have to figure out what's going on before we officially figure out the timing of the event and stuff like that, and what's going to happen going forward. But long story short, don't worry about it. I'll let you know, right? I'll let you guys know what's going to happen with the top 8 when we eventually come to a conclusion that makes sense. But the nice part is that it did end at a very convenient moment, right? It definitely did end at a convenient moment that will absolutely make it easier for us to go forward. Does this have an impact on future events? 100% no. You don't let people you don't let an extremely small minority of people change or modify the things that you love doing. If I did that, I'd have stopped making fighting game content back in 2011 when a bunch of people hated my assist me tutorials and shit. But luckily enough, like, I've been dealing with this stuff for 10 years of my life, and yeah, this is unfortunately a thing that just happens. So anyway, the Virtua Fighter trailer came out, and it looks surprising, right? I think this trailer kind of caught me off guard, but the thing is, the weird thing about this trailer is the fact that it's rendered in a 1080p resolution and it's on IGN. So YouTube absolutely massacred this thing. I don't know if IGN puts their own watermark on their stuff and then they throw it up on YouTube, but they eventually like render these things out at a bitrate that isn't great. I don't think they would do that because I think the higher quality videos they have, right, that it would actually work out for them. But at the same time, like, this is like my biggest concern with some of these trailers is the fact that it's probably not going to look great, right? It's probably going to have an issue of resolution, if not bitrate. So, all things considered, we will check this out. I have seen some things, and there is a lot of information that we need to review on what the hell this Virtua Fighter is, and there's a lot of stuff that has apparently been talked about and information that's already out there about what it is in its future. But there's still a lot of stuff that we don't have clarity on, but I think I can give you guys some clarity on it in the same vein that we talked about before, like specifically talking about its online and stuff like that. We'll talk about that because we've already had many discussions regarding this game potentially getting rollback. But let's see what it looks like in general and how much different it is. Oh, this is already. Oh, this is already. I'm gonna knock you out. It's go time. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the trailer quality once again is not great, but there is a very clear visual difference. Yeah, no, that is not the same game. That is not the same, like, practically 15-year-old Virtua Fighter 5. It's funny that the animations still hold up, though. That's one thing I did think 100% stayed. Is all the really sick anims that are in this game. Oh, dude, it's so bright. It's so bright and colorful. I can't get this stuff off the screen! 6-1. So, June 1st, this comes out. At least we get like a week to figure out what the hell is going on, right? At least we get a little bit of time to sort of like evaluate and figure out how Virtua Fighter 5 is going to play up until, you know, it eventually comes out. But dude, June Apocalypse is so real. Yeah, this looks. The backgrounds look completely different. Like the lighting in these backgrounds, the lighting on the characters looks way different than it was before. Holy hell. So here's what I thought this was going to be. I thought VF5 Ultimate Showdown was going to be essentially just an up-res 1080, sorry, not 1080, but like 4K version of VF5 Final Showdown, right? But they were going to just bump up the resolution, right? Guarantee that the game runs at 60 FPS, because I think even the Xbox 360/PS3 version is a little all over the place in terms of frame rate and drops down to like 55 every once in a while. I don't know, I've heard this. But I thought they were just going to bump it up, right? Give it a new res. It was just going to be the Xbox 360 or PS3 port, just looking a lot better. It doesn't seem like that's the case, because the one thing that everyone was talking about earlier today is that this game is not just an up-res. It's completely remade. They remade the whole game in the Dragon engine, and from what I understand, since I don't play the Yakuza games, is the latest graphics engine that they use for all of the Yakuza games. So, like, pretty much Sega's primo visual identity that they have throughout all the Yakuza titles is going to be pulling off this game. So immediately I'm like, all right, that's way more work than I thought you were gonna do, right? That immediately kind of speaks to me, where it's like, if you remade the whole damn game in a completely different graphics engine, that's kind of crazy. It's a remake, yeah, it is. It's hard to say. You know what this comes across to me as? So, number one, let's look this some stuff up, because I've been hearing impressions of people and everyone talking about this damn game all day. Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Let's look at the website, because I think the website is where I got. Yes, here we go. VirtuaFighter5US.com. So, let's check this out here. Features. Challenge the greatest fighters in the world in the ultimate remaster. It's a remaster, quote unquote, of the classic 3D fighter, now featuring gorgeous HD graphics. And yes, this is definitely not what 15-year-old Virtua Fighter 5 looks like, much less, you know, Final Showdown, which came out, what, 2007, 2008? New online features and the bone-crunching martial arts combat of the renowned original. Master your fighting style to defeat all challengers in the 5th World Virtual Fighter Tournament and become a Virtual Fighter legend. So, number one, I'm going to go down, but it's saying it's a remaster. So, my prediction is that they might add a character. They might add, like, Kiryu or something like that. Final Showdown came out in 2012. Are we sure? I think Final Showdown came out on consoles in 2012, right? Somebody, somebody, somebody. No, that game's been out for a hell. That game's been out for more than 10, 11 years. Virtua Fighter 5 first came out in like 2007-ish, I believe. And then it came out on Xbox 360 with online in like 2008. And then it came out in consoles, right? 2006. There you go. Yeah, 2010. It came out in 2010. It took several years before Final Showdown eventually got ported, to the point where we actually got the game on PS3 and 360. VF5 and the visual style of VF5, even though it still holds up and looks very good, has been around for a hell of a long time. This game has been around since character 3D models were first getting serious like rigs on their faces, right? Where characters weren't really animating in the face very much or talking. And that was around like the very early. This game predates Tekken 6 by many years, right? That's how old Virtua Fighter 5 is. Anyway, let's move on. I was assuming that they were going to add a character and they were going to like rebalance the game in some way. From it being mentioned as a remaster, it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like this is a visual overhaul, right? We like reamped the game in many ways and did a visual overhaul, but let's keep reading. Experience the pinnacle of VF experience as you play through your classic modes like ranked arcade training versus. Okay, it's probably going to be fairly bare bones. Crush the. That looks very different. Crush the competition. All challengers compete in up to 16 players in new online modes, including tournaments and leagues. That's kind of cool. And I did notice this before. The UI is different, obviously. I don't know if I like this one more than the previous one. I don't know. I haven't played an absolute ass on a VF5, but this looks very. Well, like they're trying to overhaul it. This is big too. They changed the visual style of the game to look more like Yakuza. There's hit sparks now, so they have particle-based hit sparks, and that is very different from what VF had before, which was essentially like lighting. When you would hit certain moves on characters, you would get a flash effect, but it wasn't a hit spark. It was like lighting, right? It was kind of unique for Virtua Fighter. I think this looks great. I'm curious how insane it's going to be. I don't think they're going to go Tekken levels of hit sparks, but yeah, this is actually like you're kicking Jeff in the face and a spark is flying off of them. VF really didn't have that before. It was a very clean looking game, right? And now they're going for a bit more of the Yakuza flashy stuff, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think hit sparks are great. You largely don't see them after you play the game for a few hours, and they just make certain moments look pretty, you know? Judgment effects, well, that makes a lot of sense because it's probably being made by similar people. Anyway, the Ultimate Remaster. Jesus! Akira looking more human-like than ever. Yeah, okay, so the characters are 100% way beyond the very stylized realism that was of the old VF, right? Like, Akira looks radically different. He looks way different, but he looks way more in the real boat. Here's the thing, and we had this conversation before, where it's like, all the characters in like a game like DMC4 or DMC5 look way cooler than they do now. They look too realistic now. Here's the thing. Back in 2006-ish, when VF5 came out and we saw the character designs, Sega was doing their best to make the characters look as real as possible. That was actually their goal, right? Their goal was to make things look as real as it possibly can. But did it still come across as very stylized realism? 100%. Yeah, they have very like weird angular chins and big eyes and stuff like that. But they were trying their best to make it look as stylized as it possibly could. And now they have the ability to do that, right? Now they have the ability to actually make the characters look more real. So that's why this is coming across as a bit like jarring for a lot of people, because the animations in the game are so real. Exactly. Now the characters are going to sort of complement that a little bit more. He looks a little baby-faced. Yeah, he doesn't look as grizzled as Akira usually does. So play the classic VF5 in glorious HD with updated character models, stages, and cinematics. And yeah, at least from these character renders, you can start to get an idea of where they're going with a modern take on what modern day Sega, which is a company that doesn't make a lot of games, which is a company that makes a very specific kind of genre of a few games, and now they have to go back and make an arcade game again. I think we have to sort of compromise and put ourselves in this situation. What else does Sega make besides like a Sonic game every 4 years or something like that? They make Yakuza games, and then there's some other sprinkled in sort of like anime stuff kind of here and there, right? And obviously PSO, you know? There's a very like meager amount of big budget Sega, specifically Sega in-house titles, um, that do this stuff. And you know what this comes across to me? A lot of this comes across to me that like AM2 employees that went to go work at Sarah doesn't look that great. She looks okay. AM2 employees that went to go work at like Sega, and then after Virtua Fighter, which was like one of their last games, uh, they went to go work on Yakuza because obviously Yakuza was extremely Virtua Fighter influenced and stuff. I think a lot of those guys sort of kept the passion, where they're like, man, it would be great to go back to like the old arcade days and sort of revisit some of the older franchises that Sega has, because Sega has officially forgotten about those old franchises outside of outside devs that are bringing back Streets of Rage and Panzer Dragoon and stuff like that. Um, to me, this sort of screams to me of a project that somebody at Sega was able to like get an approval for like a certain amount of budget or something, and they're like, "Can we try to bring VF back in some way?" They're like, "Can we try to do something?" Okay, so we don't have House of the Dead remake. Well, those aren't made by Sega. Those are made by other studios that had to ask Sega to make those games. Comes across as like some folks inside Sega still like love this stuff and they want to do it. It's just getting the approval and the budget for it has probably been impossible over the years. But now that other companies like seemingly like Capcom and even Square and a lot of these other big Japanese companies are doing super well, I think this is kind of having an influence on them where it's like maybe we should start bringing back some of our older IPs. And that was directly talked about in a latest Sega like financial report about them investigating a bunch of older IPs like Crazy Taxi and Virtual Fighter and stuff like that. So there's a reason they were sticking these games like inside a bunch of Yakuza games. Dude, look, Jean is so JoJo it hurts. Uh, well, they were sticking all these Virtual Fighter games in them. I think they were just trying to gauge the audience of like interest and stuff like that. That's what it sort of seems like. But it mentions online and tournament leagues and stuff like that. The other thing you got to talk about is that this most likely, yes, number one, it's actually not next gen. It's a PS4 game. This is essentially like a PS4 Pro version of the game that you will be playing on PS5, right? So it's not truly a next gen game. Clearly looks insanely better than Virtua Fighter 5 did. Clearly. But they probably didn't have the budget to go absolutely crazy with this. You know, it sort of seems like, okay, we want to do something with Virtual Fighter. What is it? We can't make VF6 because that would just be way too expensive. What do we do with it? They graphically overhaul VF5, and here's where like obviously all the money went. Dragon Engine looks good. Game obviously looks better. It's probably going to look even better in motion when we get good looking videos on it, and you can actually see it yourself. But I can almost guarantee you, and we talked about this several times before. Here's where like the pill becomes a little hard to swallow, but there's sort of light at the end of the tunnel. The pill that's really hard to swallow is that Sega almost has zero infrastructure and expertise when it comes to online games. They have literally Phantasy Star Online, right? They have PSO2 and PSO2 New Genesis. Those are very specific things, big MMO style games. But in terms of their other titles, they have so few actual like 1v1 games, right? There's like a few virtual on games that are like kind of really old now. There's you would think Sonic like racing games, but those aren't made by Sega. Those are made by oh god, No, it's not Dojo. It's not Rosso. What's the name of? I always forget the name of the company that makes all the Sonic racing games. Sumo. Thank you. It's Sumo Digital. You guys are amazing. Sumo Digital's been making Sega racing games since like I think even some ex-members of the old Sega Rally that was remade back in the mid 2000s. What I'm trying to say is that Sega almost has no expertise when it comes to online. And I can speak personally from the time that I did play Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown that its netcode obviously isn't the worst delay-based netcode. They still actually run Virtua Fighter 5 tournaments with its netcode. But the problem is that it is delay-based, right? It is essentially what you kind of expected is the further away your opponent gets, um, the further away, the bigger the delay is, and it's going to be a huge problem. Delay-based netcode issues in a nutshell, right? It's like it's going to feel about the same as a game like Tekken 7 will, and based on your experience, that'll be vastly different. But here's the thing: there was a rumor that came out a few days ago about how this game is going to be distributed. See if I can find it, and it's still here. Yeah, this is from 15 hours ago. Here it is. So here, this is where the pill gets a little bit easier to swallow because I think it's like a 99% chance this game has classic like Sega used delay-based netcode for everything. Ultimate Showdown is a PS4 exclusive that you can play on PS5, and will only be available through the PlayStation Store. But what's more is a heavily rumored PlayStation Plus titles for June of 2021. And given that Ultimate Showdown's release date is June 1st, they're going to bet that PS Plus leak is actually legit and that the game will be available on PS Plus when the game is dropping. So that softens the blow a little bit, not like a ton, obviously, but it's kind of like, yeah, maybe like a Fall Guys situation where here's the netcode issue of the game, and here's where this might soften the blow. If the game is essentially quote unquote free, right? If you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, if you play any of your PlayStation games online, and it's a part of that, that's the best case scenario because it means that you can essentially just try out the game for technically free, right? Somewhat free. If you're online on your PlayStation in some way, if you use its online services, then you're already paying for it. And if Virtua Fighter 5 is a part of a service that like what 48 million people are already subscribed to, then there's a really good chance that you'll actually run into people that are close to you, right? People don't have to worry about the game is 20 bucks, the game is 40 bucks, the game is 60 bucks, right? People don't have to worry about that. You can just sort of jump in, try it out, and play people online. Most likely, I'm making complete estimates on what's going on here because we don't know if this is actually the PS Plus leak is going to happen. So, all things considered, there is when this game comes out. I'm telling you right now, and this actually happened recently with Guilty Gear in its beta. There is going to be more people playing Virtua Fighter online than ever in the history of Virtua Fighter. Right? I'm going to break it to you right now. From not many people bought or played Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. I'm going to be super blunt with you guys right here because I know folks that worked at Sega in the early 2010s when Final Showdown came out. And unfortunately, the sales numbers of VF5FX, even though it was a really good game, wasn't fantastic. It didn't really hit the marks that it needed to because it sort of already had a game and it was way too late. Virtua Fighter 5 was it was like 6 years before that it first came out. So people were already sort of like, oh, we already had Virtua Fighter. Like, why is this coming so late? And yeah, Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown was extremely delayed. So all things considered, when this comes out on June 1st, no joke, there is going to be more people trying out Virtua Fighter than ever before. You can still go play this game. Like, if you want to try the gameplay of this thing, you can still go play the gameplay of VF5 right now if you wanted to on your Xbox. Or if you have Yakuza. That's like the two big ways. The Xbox version is online, though, which is nice. And the PS3 version technically does as well. But if you have Judgment, you can play an offline version of it, right? Which is essentially just like a mini version of the Xbox 360 version, or technically the latest Yakuza. So all things considered, the good news about this is that if it is possibly going to be on PS Now, and it is technically quote unquote free if you have a subscription, there will be so many people playing Virtua Fighter that it's going to be ridiculous. And that's always been, especially when I played Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, when I wanted to play it when it came out back in 2012, dude, nobody was there, right? But no rollback. But here's the thing: if you are able to matchmake with people that are close to you, if the pool of players is big enough that you're able to get people consistently that are close to you, then the quality of those matches will be equal to that of rollback netcode. Because that's the way delay-based and rollback netcode work. That's just the way they work. If you are forced to play against people that are across the world, across your country, everything like that, then absolutely, that's where delay-based netcode falls apart. But rollback netcode, before rollback kicks in, is just delay-based netcode. It is the same thing. All I'm trying to say is that, like, I don't think this is the worst thing in the world. I do absolutely wish that they put budget into making the game have rollback, but at the same time, it's like, oh shit, well, nobody at Sega would know how to do this. But I think they're going to be painfully clear that that is 100% a demand from players from this point forward, right? Especially when this comes out, they're going to hear nothing but like, does the game have rollback? Does the game have rollback? And the only good thing is that since the game is free, there's going to be so many people to pair up against in that first week that the game is out, especially before Guilty Gear, right? That you'll actually be able to find people. Like, you'll actually be able to find people that will have a decent online experience with you. But eventually, it'll become a problem, right? And that's just the nature of all games that have delay-based netcode. Eventually, it'll become a problem. I think that this game came out and
Sorry.
it dropped at like 30 to like $40 or something like that. Because we don't know entirely what's in the game yet. We don't even know how they're gonna like what's in the game to buy. Is there customization? They don't even mention any of that in here. It had been like the same. I feel like it had been a similar situation to Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, right? Where you just might not be able to find many people to play online with. So yeah, that's the problem. Is that if it's priced like a Sega game, Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown was $15 before DLC. But it was just a port, right? You got to realize it was just a port. This isn't a port. It is technically. I think the best way to describe what the hell this game is for a lot of people who played the Shadow of the Colossus HD remake. That's essentially what this is. This is a remake. It's like a remake slash remaster in many ways. Yeah. That's kind of what this is. It's coming across as like, oh, well, we want to keep the spirit and the gameplay of VF5 Final Showdown intact. We want to keep everything that you remember about the game there, but we are going to completely overhaul the game, put it in a brand new engine, stuff like that. So, whether or not they're going to expand on those elements, I think we got to wait for a few days. I don't want to see VF take and burn again, dude. I don't. I really don't. Like, Virtua Fighter always came out the most inconvenient times. The last time Virtua Fighter did really well was Virtua Fighter 4 on the fucking PS2. And these games are super sick. The biggest problem that they've had for the past 15 years is that they come out at the worst times. And is this a bad time? Absolutely. 100% this is a bad time for it to come out. It's dropping right before the biggest fighting game of the year. Bad timing, once again. But the best, and it probably is not going to have rollback netcode, but the best case scenario is that it visually is going to look like a modern game, which is nice. And two, it potentially is going to show up on PS Plus. So if it's a situation of like many fighting game community people are saying, no rollback, no buy, well, you don't have to worry about buying it, right? If you're already on PlayStation, you might potentially just be getting it. But that all depends if this stuff ends up coming true, because we don't know. Like, this is still a rumor, and it's not actual confirmation that this stuff as a PS Plus game is actually going to be real. But I think if this does happen, this is probably one of the biggest things that could happen. Yeah, honestly, if you this is most likely a scenario, and even like I've seen some Sega folks like asking, "Hey, who wants to check out the game?" Like, right? Like some dudes in Sega UK are like literally asking, like they want to try to get Virtua Fighter out there to as much as people as possible, because I barely anyone played Final Showdown anyway, right? According to the sales of the game. So at this point, even though it doesn't have rollback, that sucks. That's like the number one question I would have too. At least your barrier of entry is literally nothing, right? Your barrier of entry is, do you have a PlayStation and do you play it online? And according to 47 million people that are subscribed on PlayStation, you most likely do, you know? Um, and this is a big one, right? The fact that it's PS4 exclusive, that's big. Sony exclusive and Sony bought Evo. Starting to make sense, right? That's starting. Yeah, that's what I mean. The VF stream in Japan tomorrow. We're going to probably learn more about all this stuff, right? Like, what's is there customization? Customization is a huge part of Virtua Fighter. Customization started. Virtua Fighter customizations kickstarted customization in Tekken. Long story short, chat. What's the funny relationship that Tekken and Virtua Fighter have had over the years is that up until the late '90s, Virtua Fighter was the dominant 2D fighting game. It was the pioneering, dominant gameplay standard, competitive, focused. Like, this is the series. This is the real fighting game. VF was that 100%. Sorry, 3D. Did I say 2D? Um, and Tekken always felt like a little behind. It always felt like it was chasing in the footsteps of VF. And whenever a Tekken came out, it kind of did shadow Virtua Fighter, right? VF would come out with some mechanics, and then 2 years later, a Tekken game would come out, have similar sort of mechanics, right? Have like, well, Tekken 3 definitely peaked, right? Tekken 3 is when Tekken suddenly was doing even better. But funny enough, even though Tekken became the more profitable fighting game over the years, Virtua Fighter was still like pioneering and innovating in its games, even though they weren't super financially that crazy. But the crazy part is that Tekken would take mechanics from VF, like all the way past like VF4 and stuff like that. Like it was going all the way. Virtua Fighter had walls. Virtua Fighter had scaling scapes and stuff like that. That was eventually in Tekken 4. Tekken was always like, okay, we're just gonna wait for VF to do this stuff, and we're gonna do our own version of it years later. This is just the way it was. Like it was the relationship between the games, and because of that, critically, until potentially like the mid 2000s, Virtua Fighter was always like the critical, super respected fighting game series. This was like the if you are looking for a serious, competitive, crazy, easy to play but insanely hard to master fighting game, VF is the game for you. And Tekken was always thought as like, oh, that's sort of like the casual sort of like, this is the 3D game that you just kind of want to like, that everyone sort of plays and enjoys, but if you want to get serious about your 3D fighters, you play Virtua Fighter. That's just the nature of the situation from the late 90s to the mid 2000s, but VF couldn't keep up. And long story short, like the sales for the games and the characters and stuff like that did not carry it any further. Because guess what Sega should have done? 100%. Sega should have turned Virtua Fighter into a Fighters Megamix kind of situation and started integrating characters throughout other Sega franchises. But they didn't. They stuck just to VF and just included new VF characters, you know? And those characters are amazing. They're super fun too. Vanessa's this insane close range 3D grappler and shit. She's super cool. I'm not saying Sonic the Hedgehog specifically, but there's clearly a lot of characters that if you could think in your brain, right, if I can think about a future Virtua Fighter, if VF actually did get a whole brand new game somewhere in the future, Jesus, man, they would definitely need to start tapping into the rest of the Sega archive, right? They should definitely start tapping into a bit of what makes Sega Sega to sort of widely appeal not just to the Virtua Fighter audience anymore. Right? That just makes sense to me. So that's why I'm like in this situation where I'm like, I'm definitely in the Virtua Fighter defense force here. I'm not an idiot. The game 100% should have rollback netcode, and it probably won't. But I think if you guys give a shit about Virtual Fighter in any way and would like Sega to sort of like break back into fighting games, if this is on PS Plus, just go try it out. You know, just go try it out. If it has tutorial modes and stuff like that, it doesn't actually say if it has tutorial modes, which would suck if it doesn't. Give it a shot, right? Go like mess around with some characters, go online and press some buttons. I would actually heavily encourage you guys to try this game if you like Tekken. I really would, right? Because this game plays dramatically different than Tekken, but at the same time, a lot of stuff that you've learned from Tekken, especially Tekken 7, will 100% make things a bit easier for you as far as like controlling 3D space. A lot of that stuff definitely comes across as very similar, you know. And the best part, right? The potential best part about this shit is that if it is under a situation like this, then there's no barrier of entry. Just go try it out. God, dude, I hope this looks super good. I can't wait to play this shit, man. I think this looks. I hope it looks way better than this dang trailer did. I hope we get a better looking quality trailer too, because I want to see this thing at like a higher resolution. My God, dude. Yeah, VF has some of the coolest looking actual combat of any fighting game. It looks so sick. Yeah, if you played DOA 5, you played a light version of VF. It's very true. Yeah, like VF 5. DOA 5 had Virtual Fighter characters in it, and yeah, they essentially carry a lot of the essence of Virtual Fighter, but not the same, obviously. I'm not even good at these games. Last time I played a bunch of Virtual Fighter was technically VF fucking 2. I would love an opportunity to get better at them, and the only way that you get better at a fighting game is really having good competition. Is just having a lot of people to play with, you know. Gameplay will likely confirmed during the VF event stream tomorrow. The only problem is that if there's a VF event stream, that's probably going to look even worse. Right? The bitrate and the resolution of that stream will probably not be great. Yes, I suck at VF as well. If we all suck together, then it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I guarantee you, chat, of the 6 people, possibly 7 people that are super good at VF5, you might not run into them online. There's maybe 7 to 10 people that are actually crazy good at VF, and the chance of you running into them online is going to be very minimal. Let's suck together, because that's some of the most fun in a fighting game is figuring stuff out together, you know? Have you guys seen the wall throws in this game? Holy, my friend put up a video on this. Hang on a second. Have you guys even seen the animations for the wall throws? Like, I saw this video the other day. Check this shit out. Just look at this. This game is from 2006. This game is from 2000. This is the old game. You had 7,000 matches in VF5 on Xbox 360? Damn. I don't even think VF5 ran at 720p. Like, it didn't Final Showdown even run at like a lower resolution. Hot dog! Hot dog! I love Jean in this game. He's so fucking cool. He has such a cool fight style. Yes, Rey Mysterio's in this game. 100%. They have a character that is literally Rey Mysterio. Like, if anybody is a wrestling fan, the guy is like super short, just like Rey Mysterio as well, and he just does his moves. I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be like an homage to, you know, what essentially Rey Mysterio is, which is the luchador. But there's so, like, if you have never seen El Blaze play, if you like fucking Rey Mysterio, then I would definitely check out El Blaze. And he's not bad in the game either. Jesus. Shit, imagine landing this shit on somebody in this game, man. Jesus. It's so fucking sick. I'd also like to learn Lei Fei. Lei Fei, the monk guy, this dude's super sick. He's a stance character. Here's a character that can't get deleted from the game. We can delete Lion though, right? We can ask Sega if they do make another Virtua Fighter after this, right? If they do make another VF after this, we can delete Lion. We can get him out of the game, right? We just delete the files. We can get him out of the game. We can start a petition. Feels very Yakuza-esque. This is the old game. Well, I mean, if you're saying this feels very Yakuza-esque, then there's a good reason because a lot of the devs from Virtua Fighter went to Yakuza. Oh, I never want to fight against a good Shundi. I never want to fight against him. Let's just can we just avoid that? I never want to fight against a good Shundi. Oh! Oh god, the wall sex! Oh no! God, Vanessa's so sick.
Alright. What do we got? What do we got?
Yeah! Yeah! Alright, Pat, I get it. Right, I get it, Pat. I understand Patrick, right? Mr. Patrick, I get it, Pat. I understand now. I've never seen this wall throw before, and now I understand. Yeah! Oh my god. Holy shit. Yeah. He just starts Ric Flair talking. It's going to be interesting seeing people react to the way Virtua Fighter plays, you know? To me, it's going to be really fascinating seeing a bunch of people try this for the first time and if they, like, enjoy it. Because the graphical... You think the graphically impressive considering the PS4 pics didn't seem like a huge upgrade? To be honest, like the video doesn't come across as like that well, right? Like we don't even see the game looking quite good yet because the video is horribly compressed. That's why I'm looking forward to like seeing a better or less compression video. I hope Sega releases a trailer. But I mean, Sega seems like they're actually reaching out to content creators, so I already sent some emails. We'll see what happens, chat. If I get my ass a way to play this game before it comes out in like next week, I 100% will render out a video in like 4K, and if it does happen, I'll render out a video in 4K, and I'll get this shit looking as good as possible, right? I'll make sure that you'll actually see the game for what it actually is. But I'll have to send some emails. We'll see what's going on. Yeah, Virtua Fighter 5 is probably the second most influential fighting game, next to Street Fighter 2. To me, it's Street Fighter 2 is the most influential fighting game of all time, and then Virtua Fighter was the most influential fighting game of all time, and then after that was Mortal Kombat. Those are the three pinnacles of the fighting game sort of dawn that was the 90s. Next, Tekken as well. Definitely not, dude. No. Tekken became a thing because of Virtua Fighter. Tekken wasn't... everything was trying to be VF in the 90s until Tekken became a thing. If not for VF, there would not be 3D fighting games. Yeah. Yeah, let's see if we can find like a combo video or something. Hold on a second. Does anyone have a good like VF5 video? Any Virtua Fighter VF5 OGs know if there's like a super sick sort of like VF video I could take a look at? I'm looking for like gameplay stuff, yeah. Osu Akira matches. Oh hell yeah. Oh, do I want to see Akira and Junin Hyundai? I want to see Akira do some dank shit. Okay, hold on a second. Evo 2018 Top 4 BF5. The BFR. There we go. Yeah, let's watch some of this. Watch to see how like Virtua Fighter gameplay actually is. At a high level, at least.
With the platinum hair. Lots of a little bit of respect right now.
So yeah, there's no hit sparks at all. There's like small flashes of light, but that's about it.
He smells like meditation. Oh yeah.
Jesus, Akira! Chat, how hard is Akira to play? I want a shoulder check. I want to Tetsuzanko some motherfuckers really bad. Because I know if you land like a counter hit Tetsuzanko, you're losing 60% or some shit. He's really fucking hard. The answer is yes. And he's always been really weird. He's difficult. But there has to be like a few things that I can do to make him playable, because Akira just looks like too much fun.
Oh yeah, he's just trying to smell the blood. Good defense, I think. It's that counter hit on the side. Still right in the middle of the stage right now. Yeah, both these players really respecting each other at this play.
Jesus Christ.
We stay mid-stage.
You can play every character but Akira.
A lot of respect. They both backdash at the beginning of the match. Oh yeah, that's when you know you can tell Homestay knows the strength of his opponent. Yeah.
And look how smooth the damn combat looks. For a game that technically is based on a game that came out in 2006. Get the shoulder input down to muscle memory. Back forward forward. Isn't Tetsuzanko back forward forward punch?
He knows GT's out of reaction, so reacts with that kick. So he faked the kick, went for the throw. Nice tech. Nice fuzzy. Oh, you're gonna see a lot of fuzzies this match. If you're not familiar with what a fuzzy is, basically
everything in the game was mocap from real martial artists and then polished up with hand animation. Virtua Fighter is so fucking sick, dude. God damn, is that a guard crush? Here's what's gonna happen. I 100% am gonna. I have a couple of friends that are super VF heads, right? Yo, Robin, thank you, dude. I'm gonna have to get some friends and some Virtua Fighter guys on like a Discord call and have them give me some shit. Like, break down. I know down ones are good. You know, I know sidestepping and stuff like that. I know like the basic shit. But I played VF5 Final Showdown essentially for 2 weeks, or VF5 even, for like a couple weeks when it came out. I would love someone to just like break down some shit and just give it to me. You know, I would love that.
And as a result, it covers more options.
Yeah, and for anyone that's curious, there is a universal move in this game that every single character has that is a natural interrupt and turn stealer. It's called down one, or down punch. You just down punch every character from the lowest level to the absolute highest level is super good, right? Dick jabs are super good. They are the ultimate interrupter and they're turn stealers. You'll see it even highest level gameplay. There they are. This game has some like super like 3D strike throw shit.
Woo!
There are high throws and low throws in the game, so neither of these characters have low throws, so fuzzy.
God damn!
That's fuzzy. Oh, you're gonna see a lot of fuzzies this match. If you're not familiar with what a fuzzy is, basically the way VF works.
Look at this sequence.
You tap down, you go block low. But you also have, if you tap down, while you're rising, you also have.
Jesus Christ!
It covers more options.
And then this round.
definitely something to master. And the Japanese players and the high-level American players, they always
See,
master.
that was a fuzzy right there.
Oh yeah, it's almost that throw.
Yeah. There are high throws and low throws in the game, so.
Holy shit.
So,
Holy shit, it looks so fucking cool.
almost right there. It's that first round.
Yeah, this game has throw text in the same vein of a reload animation in like a first-person shooter game that is super sick looking, right? Like if you tech a throw, it's almost cooler looking than the throws.
Yeah.
Kind of convincing. You can tell GT has the skill to keep up. You can look at him right now. He's getting all the info he needs to come back.
They're both playing really solid. GT's not.
Zarko, she's like, all right, guys, trust me. Akira looks fly as fuck, right? But try playing him, and it's like trying to use two shopping carts to paint a work of art. Oh, they're full of paint and shit. Yeah, that is my impression when I've ever tried playing Akira in these games. Is like, god damn, it looks so cool, but holy shit, dude, you're trying to manage two shopping carts full of paint while you're trying to like put a mural on a wall.
Guard breaking back.
Alright,
No.
That's the best description.
He's getting that throw by more than he should.
Yeah.
Matchup.
right there.
There it is again.
This is probably the fourth or third time
Yeah.
I've seen that. And
That's-
GT might be a little shook.
And that's literally like the first knockdown of the match. And not really.
Alright.
This is where home state really shines.
Funny story. Almost every fighting game player knows what the term okizeme is and oki. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's been a hell of a long time. Didn't the popularization of the term oki come from fucking VF? Didn't that come from like in 2000s, like Virtua Fighter or some shit? I think most of the terms, maybe check the glossary, yeah, maybe. I think most of the terms we know for fighting games, like the Japanese terms, actually came from Virtua Fighter because why? Virtua Fighter was the #1 fighting game in Japan for a hell of a long time. Like it was the biggest competition, the most people. It was such a huge game.
Oh, what a whip punish. Yeah.
Home state, he smelled the blood. He's going for
Yeah,
it.
GT gotta start attacking.
Oki just means wake up, right? Check out the glossary, exclamation point glossary. Chances of VF coming back to Evo, I'd say almost 100%, right? Considering that Evo and PlayStation are a thing, you know? It seems like this game exists because PlayStation, that Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown exists because PlayStation. But yeah,
He might be a
I
little
think there's a very good chance.
I would be too. It's
It's yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I don't know how much he's playing. I know he plays a lot of Street Fighters, so this guy's
This
just
is true.
and it's not very often you have those.
If you're not on top of
VF
your
match.
games for VF, you're just not gonna really pull out a good
Just start paying attention to Jean.
Okay, another throw.
Shit.
Okay, not taking either. Okay, then never mind.
He read that one.
Yeah. Didn't want it to happen again.
That's a huge side step. Holy shit.
GT knows too. I'm sure he's thinking about it.
We know GT can do this.
Absolutely. But
Does this give hope for VF6? I honestly think it does, but at the same time, I think that's really far out. But the fact that Sega is even doing anything with Virtual Fighter is insane to me, you know? Like, I think this is 100% trying to establish itself that maybe there's people that are interested in this. But it's, yes, I definitely get Darkstalker's resurrection situation, right? My brain definitely goes to like, oh man, that's like a Darkstalkers thing. However, there's a big difference between this and Darkstalkers. 100% they fixed the graphics, right? They actually updated the whole game instead of just making it high res. They updated the whole game. But this is not a buy or die situation. It's not, because how is the game potentially launching? The game potentially is launching on PS Plus. So if you're subscribed to PlayStation, which, like I said, like 48-something million people are, then there's no barrier of entry to trying this. There's none. You just download it. So that's like the big hope that I have, that they'll actually get people to try this thing out, is that, oh, if I'm just on PlayStation Network, I get it for free. Quote unquote free, you know? So that's actually super good news. If that, we don't know if that's true or not. If that ends up being true.
oh, that was the most optimal combo. That's so hard to do. Jose Kira showing us that he's still got it all.
Nice. I like that delayed.
Yeah, it's quote unquote free. It's definitely Sony money had it. Yeah. Sony's the reason why Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown exists. It certainly seems that way.
Absolutely nothing.
All right,
Now
now
it's
they got 2-0.
2-0. This is
all-
winners finals.
It's all going to be best of 5.
Oh, do we have Lei Fei? No way. Holy shit, Jeff versus Lei Fei. I gotta see this shit.
You
Yeah.
don't really see people worrying about that. Like every
You
character,
win.
every character's
Yo, Crazy M, thanks for the 21 months, dude.
special and has so many different moves that people are more interested in like what fits my playstyle.
Yeah. What's your play style?
Yeah.
Will help you.
And then you just learn the matchups against the rest of the cast with your playstyle. So we got Adam versus
Damn, you can really see how much different the lighting is. Hang on a second, chat. You can really tell how much different of a game this looks than this. Granted, this is fuzzy as hell and is on like a 720p stream. But yeah, like Jesus, just Jeff's muscles and stuff. It is very different. Very different looking. I'm glad they didn't make it dark and brooding, you know? I'm glad they actually kept the very like Sega Blue Sky look to it.
But if there's anything that does well against Lei Fei, it's fundamentals.
Definitely.
And
You're gonna need him to beat the late pay tricks, not get caught up in any of his weird stances.
and
Oh god, that's so sick.
Jeff actually has a lot of options in this matchup. Lei Fei.
Yo, Bruton, thanks for the 5 gifts. That's good. Holy shit.
He gets reversal with two-handed moves
No.
or shoulders.
Or his headbutt.
Or headbutts.
Or his headbutt.
Which-
So we're gonna
Which
see that.
Jeff has a lot of.
Yes.
And you'll start seeing, I think, as this matchup goes on, Adam doing a lot more of those headbutts.
Ooh, he almost lost.
So we did say time-ups are rare. That was a rare time-up. We probably won't see one of those again.
Yeah. 6 point,
I think that was
pretty late game.
late.
Oh my god, where's this dude going?
Yeah, they're also on stage. Going for the
Yeah.
while.
Both of them haven't played in a while.
Oh,
okay.
I wanted to see
He
it.
wanted to see
Splash
that
mount.
toe splash.
Boy, that splash mount is so bad.
Oh yeah, and that was a counter hit. That would have been guaranteed.
Lei Fei was first in VF4 Vanilla, right?
K plus G,
I don't think he was introduced in EVO. I think he was VF4 Vanilla.
Oh yeah.
and
45-second timer, dude. These rounds are fucking fast. You die quick in Virtual Fighter.
people lose about
I think wasn't the default arcade round timer for Virtual Fighter 30 seconds? 45 even seems kind of long. I think it was 30 seconds at one point.
oh, there we go. See?
Yeah, he's gonna have to feel stick trying.
Yeah, they're 30-second matches or rounds. Shit goes quick.
Okay, he went for the toe stomp there.
Oh, okay. I didn't have a walk over for that, but
Yeah, Adam's getting a little bit happy with his buttons, but this is gonna work out now.
Ow.
another thing that makes this a little bit harder for Lei Fei is that Jeff is so heavy. Lei's heavy combos don't do
We're playing VF this weekend. Oh, 100%, yeah. We're gonna do like a Virtual Fighter fucking Legacy or something this weekend with this shit coming out soon.
Yeah, see, he doesn't have his heavy combos down.
Adam's gonna make 2.
Yo, Muncho, thanks, man.
Maybe 3 regular ones.
Like, chat, my whole goal is for people to give fighting games a shot so you can eventually find something to fall in love with that you never knew existed before. So you can feel the way I did when I was first playing Virtual Fighter on VF2 on the Sega Saturn. That's like my whole goal. Whether or not I end up loving VF5 or I just want to like play it for the rest of my life or anything like that, I want to give someone else the chance to have that experience, you know?
We're not online anymore, so.
And I think especially if you have a PlayStation and if it does end up coming on PS Plus, holy shit, just give it a shot and look at a character's move list and see the crazy stuff they can do.
Especially when you see Lei in the stance.
Definitely. And it whipped over his low stance right there.
I'd still like to see more like 4-3. That.
Oh yeah.
4-3 Ps. That's the
I
thing.
want to see some crazy high-level Kage gameplay, right? That's what I want.
And pools.
Oh, here's El Blaze.
Well, I could talk about my Lei stuff.
Oh yeah, you get to unload all the knowledge here.
Look how short El Blaze is. It's so funny. The dude's like 5 foot nothing. My apologies to anyone that's 5 foot nothing.
One problem with Blaze is if you get hit.
Yeah, you're getting launched.
Yeah, you get launched. And Jeff does a lot of damage.
Oh, 2 backbreakers.
How does weight work in this game? That's actually a very good question. Is gravity sort of universal for any VF heads?
When he does that little face punch,
Yeah.
and it leaves people right in front of you. Nice. Okay. Alright.
Nice ring
Optimal
advantage
combo.
here.
He actually delayed.
And,
So they would drop. That's it. It's a little known Blaze tag.
So you gotta delay it for the
Yeah.
heavies.
Yeah, you have to really.
characters do have different weights. Okay.
Nice meeting.
You're offended? I'm offended. I'm horribly tall.
It's from the blades.
I've been cursed with this 6'4" inches.
Definitely switch nation straps there.
Unblockable. One knockdown. See how far
Rey
you
Mysterio's 5'7"? Bullshit.
Oh, wow.
Bullshit.
Interesting. I like that stuff. He gets the what do you call it? The 6P with Blaze, really long range. So it's really good poke. And you get a knockdown if you can visually confirm the knockdown in your kick.
So you have all the time to.
Yeah, especially that kind of hit. So it's really good poke, especially if you've got good reactions to kind of see the hit.
Right, so Adam takes that round there.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot of like crazy mechanical stuff in VF as well. I remember playing Jackie. That when I was playing Jackie back in 2006 or 7, when the game came out on Xbox 360, I had to get used to this really specific button timing he had, where if you pressed kick, you had to press guard right after kick, and it would make the kick recover like twice as fast, right? It would actually make his moves pop back way quicker. And I was having to get used to that shit and like playing the game, the Xbox 360 version online for like the longest time. Yeah, pretty much like L canceling.
Low risk from your options and then high risk from being so lightweight with blades.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of counter launchers, but Blaze has a really good one. So they really have to, like, if they want to launch, they really got to go for the read. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that's what I use. Oh, that's tough.
Oh, man. Now
John has just written inputs as well. No wonder I like that stuff. I think it's actually pretty fun.
Super good right now.
all day today.
Nice pussy.
Oh, okay. Nice 3+K.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried it again when it was in DOA, and it was fucking hard. Getting used to it is weird. It's like the same equivalent of getting used to, sort of like getting used to things like taunt gen upper or electrics and Tekken, you know? Sort of like that.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
yeah.
He's catching him out of the air. All notice it. That's your stress ball kicking the dead corpse on the ground.
Do we have any, what's it called? Crazy high level Kages? I'd love to see some of that shit. Does anyone know like a name? Chibata Vids? Is it just under Chibata Vids? I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, chat. Nice. Nice. Anyway, we can watch VF all night, but I think we have to move it along so that we can eventually play some Power Rangers tonight, right? We got Chibated. Nice. Anyway. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I think the potential of no rollback is a big bummer, but I think that other potential of it being potentially free to play on PlayStation Plus is a huge benefactor for you having a good time online. And the weird thing is that it is a PS4 game. I think they're trying to appeal towards the biggest audience possible. Right? I think they're trying to. Obviously, I think it's pretty smart actually that there is a PS4 version, not just specifically a PS5 version. PSO2. there was a trailer at the end of this whole thing? Hang on a second. I think there was a trailer at the end of this whole thing. I don't want to watch through the whole dang. Yeah, here we go. All right, so there was a big old new Genesis update with a whole bunch of stuff. Hot information. Let me check out the trailer first.
Undiscovered venture
Oh.
lies within the radium line.
What? It's in English. Kinda.
An RPG where many gather, so fight, and grow together.
Okay. All right. I'm in.
It's entirely free to play.
All right. Yeah, man, you got me. Yes, yeah, man. Let's go.
Pursue online RPGs have reached one solution.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, let's venture out to a radium world adventure that no one has seen before.
Okay. I'm 100% with you. Take me. Cut it over. Oh my. Is this guy gonna narrate the game too?
The warriors fight against these enemies.
These enemies? D's? Like D-E-E-Z? I like it.
Generations.
Why didn't they just get an English announcer? The game is in English. Why didn't they just get some guy? What? Why do we have to do Bravo 1 emergency attach? Why didn't we just whatever, you know? Maybe it adds to the charm.
To this day, those who fall from the sky without memories
It's a meteor.
Because this is better. Okay, you might be right.
fight along the side of people of Hauser.
More charm. See, it has English. What the hell?
Here, take my hand. I'm taking it on.
Arcs could use more.
I'm probably going to be skipping a lot of the story, unfortunately.
Mission as we head out.
You two are from Alien Town, isn't that right?
Alien Town?
I believe Ox could really use your help fighting it.
And now, a new meteor lands on planet Alpha.
Alpha.
The ultimate character creator. Choose one of the 4 races and customize their height, balance, facial features, and hair color. Enjoy picking from a large assortment of outfits and
Jesus.
accessories. You can even customize the facial expressions and motions. Create another you with
This is good.
combinations and head out to the new world where everyone waits.
Where everyone waits.
The adventure takes place in a huge and seamless open-field world. We have prepared 2 new actions for traversal. Sprint quickly with Photon Dash. And descend from above with Photon Glide.
Yes, these are all things we definitely know about.
Experience exhilarating high-speed battles with these actions. Venture out into the exploration sectors with up to 32 players. Collect materials.
Yoink this crab.
And minerals with gathering. Enhance your weapons and items, or make quick food with these materials. There are also enemies that get stronger depending on the time of day and weather.
There was like one big one, I think, in the beta.
And towers to prepare for the combat
I do actually hope the game sets up for more things that you can do small parties, right?
overcome the Senate trials
Where you can play with 4 people, you know? Or maybe even solo. Instead of being just like the constant fighting like fuck fest that the 32 player zones end up being.
Unleash your burning passion for adventure in a immensely vast world.
Yep, I agree with that statement.
I'll help too.
My burning passion.
From the 6 base classes. Classes who specialize in direct attacks, hunter, fighter. Classes who excel ranged attacks, ranger, gunner. Classes who have high aptitude for techniques, force, dictor.
Dictor.
Also choose subclasses to use their weapon for a total of 2 weapons.
That's neat. Switching on the fly.
Different weapons two weapons. You can use two weapons on one pallet without having to switch between them.
That's so. We didn't even get to do this in the beta.
Controls. Simplified movement is perfect. With one
I wonder what the best combinations will be for this stuff.
keep experimenting until you find the perfect fighting style for you. Everybody, at the ready! Hurry!
This is me narrating. Yes, I'm gonna take the credit.
Application features have also evolved. Talk with chat and cut in. Send stamps back and forth. And fully express yourself with emotes.
What?
Grow closer to your teammates with lots of fun interactions.
Interaction. I thought he like malfunctioned halfway saying that. Interaction.
Orange told you that approaching. It's directly above you.
Make your very own character, train them up, gather items, and challenge formidable enemies together with your friends.
Well,
This entire adventure can be enjoyed for free.
this guy's trying to sell me like on a casino, right? I feel like this dude is trying to like get me to go to some casino in the desert or some shit.
Could have been.
There's absolutely no time to lose.
We better go.
Why must you fight? Why did you arrive here? A vast world that shines brightly with curious radiance and new encounters.
A vast world that shines brightly with a curious radiance. All right, this is like halfway turning into a Mr. Spockadoo commercial right now. Like, this has now gotten to the point where it's a Mr. Sparkle commercial, and I'm kind of loving it.
A never-ending adventure full of mystery begins here and now. PSO2 New Genesis launches in June.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably the best trailer I've ever seen in my entire life. What's back here? Oh, are these new zones? Ooh, new zones. This is in June as well, right? Shut the hell up about it. I know it's in June. Shut the hell up about it.
Let's start off with the new test field, which wasn't shown to the public during the closed beta testing.
Damn, Simmons Beaches.
The first one we will introduce is West Alien.
This is called the Simmons Beach.
Scene facing the ocean.
Wow, this looks fucking really good. Wow, holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible!
Yeah.
Ocean view throughout the entire section.
Jesus, this looks fucking cool. Holy hell. Simmons is just gonna be grinding and picking up crabs all day long down here.
Hawking Lake is a section.
This is where I would hang out. Holy hell.
No enemies appeared during normal hours, making it a quiet region.
I want to take a trip there.
Damn it. Can we get monsters?
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So nice.
Bit rate sucks. Yeah, but the bit rate sucks.
Next up is the Vanford Laboratory Rooms, which is quite the polar opposite.
Very PSO-y.
in the closed beta test, as it's a man-made field with lots of shielding and is a combat center.
It does look like ruins.
Yeah.
It does look like ruins. Yeah. High quality translation. Okay. High quality dialogue.
A pod-shaped autonomous turret called a drone can be
Why is that something different?
out of the past and will temporarily support the player.
A what?
The key to success in this section is using the drone to your advantage in battle.
I see.
Looks like fun. technically mags? No, I don't think so.
And check it
This
out.
one looks great.
We have another combat sector called Wrestle Farms. This field is inhabited by a large number of vicious
Oh, this was in the first trailer.
high level of combat power to enter. In comparison to other sectors,
Oh.
this one is much more challenging, as well as drastic changes in the field from day to night.
It looks kind of sketchy at night.
Definitely looks totally different at nighttime. Oh, it's a really nice area. Uh-oh.
It's dark as shit.
I see.
Yeah, and the nighttime looks a bit better. It's kind of hard to tell because the bitrate is so bad. But hopefully at launch you'll be able to see more at nighttime. It was too damn
That's all for
dark.
introductions of new fields.
This wall, I did not see
Oh, there's the new enemies? More new enemies.
that. I wonder what kind of monsters there'll be.
It's huge. Something's flying.
Or
It's a giant, crazy robotic manta ray. That's weird. Does it have a release date yet? Quote unquote June.
okay, maybe not so cute.
Jamie.
An enemy.
Ah, it looks tough. Ooh. Can avoid that attack.
Looks like it's got a wide range attack. Virus. What's that?
Some weird ass looking monsters.
Oh, they started shooting. They're coming back. There's more targets. Whoa, that looks super tough. Oh, okay. Oh, they come after you.
I hate when it's like super reactionary commentary from the official source, right? From people that have obviously seen this before. Oh, I like this thing. What the hell? Big Frogga? Can we give it another name? I like it. Can we have it called something different?
Ah, one of those all over the place guys. Those can be a pain to handle.
Some weird fuzzy monsters. I kind of like it.
It's like a small site.
It's one of those, if you get targeted, you're in trouble types.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. New story. I think I can pass that one. Other new.
By movement icon onto the main palette, you will be able to perform normal attacks, photon arts, and techniques, all with just one button, as it adjusts and automatically uses the appropriate action depending on your distance from the enemy. By using this feature, even those who aren't good at action games can just use the simplified movement and the dot button to fight.
Oh, so it's like an FF7 remake mode. Yeah, it's like accessibility options. You probably will have way less than you can do, but it's like easy automatic. Yeah. Oh, the level cap at launch is only 20? Oh, that makes sense. Well, I mean, it might be harder to level up than it was before. What's this?
Photon arts allows you to skip to the fourth combo string. The weapon action of the wired lance is changed on command.
Oh. So wait, you can get to your buff attack sooner? Oh, shit. Fighter skip arts. Okay. That's kind of interesting. other party members. Oh, wait, there's a command for you to stick everyone in the same spot? Ooh, that's brilliant.
That was it.
That shit is brilliant.
Oh, this is cute too.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Oh, cute.
And that character is aggressively spinning.
Oh, that might be good. Do your best. Oh, that's a cute move.
Okay. A bird? They have a bird?
Mine.
They got a beard? This is under a wedding celebration? Oh, motherfucker, I gotta go through some scratch horse shit? Are you telling me that I'm gonna have to roll my ass off to get a beard? A bird? I'm gonna have to go through RNG hell to get this.
All right, man. I like this one. I didn't remember what it was that I wanted to do, but I like what ended up happening with this one. I especially like the goggle, and I just took an extra step to throw the face seemingly underneath the goggles. That way, when it's on or off, it's a similar looking picture, more or less. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. And how long have I been recording? Going on 90 minutes? So yeah, a good 90 minutes for a decent piece. I spent a little bit more time on the face. You know, I guess it's like anything else. The more time you spend on something, the more the more you're gonna want to do things. You know what I mean? So I just kind of started this photo bashing stuff, especially at this degree. With this intention and all that stuff. And I'm having fun with it, and I could see how you spend more time with these things, you could just get better, just continue to get better and better and better. Um, so yeah, I had a lot of fun, even though I can't remember what I wanted to do. I really like this, man, and I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of it has to do with the collar. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really much going on until you throw the collar and the whole gambit setup on them. As much as I always thought the mask is what set Gambit apart, you gotta think about that trench coat collar is definitely doing stuff also. So, as soon as I threw that on, this just got a lot more comfortable to me. Anyways. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna take a break. Gonna probably make a coffee and all this other stuff, and then I'll probably be back on for another to do another one of these. And yeah, man, I'll be back in a little bit. Uh, I'm G Mr. Drew. That's at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You can follow, like, and subscribe. Links are in my bio, along with my website, gmrdrew.art. You could check me out there. You could contact me. Let me know if you want to hire me, freelance, anything like that. Or, if you just enjoy watching these videos, man. Any and all support is appreciated. You've been watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 156. And yeah, man, I'll be back to do some more of these things. And, hopefully doing it bigger and better every time. Hope you guys enjoy. Love y'all. Peace.